What is improvisation? According to the Oxford Dictionary, it is the act of improvising. So what's improvising? Well, according to Oxford Dictionary, to improvise is to create and perform music, drama, or verse spontaneously or without preparation. This begs the question, what do we ever do without preparation? Perhaps me speaking right now is improv. I'm reading from a script, but I'm spontaneously choosing the tone and rhythm of my speech. Or maybe it was when I wrote the script and spontaneously decided what words to put on the page, although I did know the spelling of all of those words. So maybe it was my first word. Did I improvise the foundations of English as a child, or was listening to my parents' and siblings' preparation? Is a painter's only true improvisation the first time they grab a brush? Did they prepare before that? In music, improvising is something that happens much more in certain genres than others, and is essentially defined as playing something, usually melodic, that isn't written down. Does that make the music you're listening to right now improvisation? I never wrote it down. Are you even listening to it? If you weren't and are now, does that mean my suggestion prevents your decision from being improvised? If you're still not listening to the music, are you even listening to what I'm saying? In March of 1964, American composer Terry Riley wrote a piece of minimalist music called In C. He, along with two of his fellow students, was deeply involved in group improvisation, which was one of the biggest influences and inspirations for his piece. It's played like this. Everyone is handed the single page of sheet music, which includes 53 short motifs, which Riley calls modules. Then the players play, in order, all of the modules on the page with an optional eighth note pulse to be played in octaves on a piano. The performance is in the decisions of the players, as it is left to their discretion how many times to repeat each module before moving on. This core aspect causes most to analyze and consider the piece to be improvisational, as each performance is not predetermined and unique to the individual players. This identification stretches the definition we found earlier, which specified without preparation, or the idea that musical improvisation is characterized by a lack of notation. This piece is often rehearsed and everything played is written down, yet we still consider it to be improvised. In life, it is the same. We may not read our lives from a staff, our days may not be organized into downbeats and upbeats or chords and melodies, but trees do not spontaneously decide where and how to grow. Their sheet music is in their very cells, specific instructions on finding light and water to feed and drink. So perhaps, in fact, our lives are organized into music. Our days measures of a grand symphony. Maybe the notation just looks different. So why ask these questions? Maybe the definition of improvising is just that. Improvised. Every time you partake in it. If that's true, then why does improvising matter? Rob Schiffman, a renowned comic, improviser, and musician, states, "Improv teaches the importance of support through listening." There's a beautiful point in that. In order to support each other in music and in life, we must listen to each other. If we don't see someone's next words or notes written on a page, then we are forced to listen to have any clue of what they are doing or saying, or what is coming next. Furthermore, if you try to comfort someone by reading comforting phrases from a script, it won't feel genuine and likely won't accomplish the goal of comfort and support. It's also important because we can't prepare for everything. I never have an umbrella. This might seem like a weird anecdote, but it connects, I promise. I intentionally avoid having an umbrella with me, and I never check the weather. The consequence of this, I get rained on occasionally. I'm not prepared or expecting the rain, and so I don't avoid it. I do this as a symbolic reminder to myself that I'll always be okay. After all, when I get rained on, I just get a little wet. No injuries or trauma from getting a little bit of rain. I try to apply that to the rest of my life. I can't predict when friends will leave my life, when some kind of disaster will harm me or someone I love, or when someone I love will pass away. The best I can do is improvise and maybe get a little wet. Besides, what can we predict anyways? One of the most common complaints I hear about weather forecasts is the inaccuracy within their predictions. What about you? Have you predicted the music in the background or the pictures on screen? Did you know yesterday what your breakfast would be? Did you know how elections or wars or dates would turn out? The answer is probably not. Despite the meticulous order of the universe, humans are incapable of predicting almost anything. Thus, we improvise. In truth, that's art, isn't it? The world is a slightly better place for having improvisation in it than it was before. There's something about it that says something positive about the human spirit, that a bunch of people can get together and by following a few simple traffic rules can create art and can entertain an audience and can thrill and exalt each other. That is a beautiful quote from renowned improvisation teacher Del Close. I might be mispronouncing that. He makes a point that improv itself is positivity and that we can dignify and lift each other through its practice. After all, what could be more positive than improv? If you compose or write, you likely revise and pare down. You take away. With improv, it's all additive. You never get less music by playing a trumpet solo over some chords. If we want to ensure that life is full of beauty, art, music, dancing, laughing, and creativity, then improvisation must never be forgotten or overshadowed. So how do we improvise? The long answer is when presented with options, most of the work is done by the prefrontal cortex. Specifically, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex pulls from past experiences to weigh the cost and benefits of each decision, and the limbic system adds to this with emotions and memories relevant to the options, releasing serotonin and or dopamine when presented with options that were beneficial in the past. When improvising, it's been observed that the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is less active, while the medial prefrontal cortex is more active. In layman's terms, the inner critic gets quieter while creativity prevails with little to no inhibition. The short answer is that we always do. From the moment you wake up and decide to make breakfast to the minute you deem it's time to go to bed. And even beyond then, your subconscious improvises surrealness into your mind that we call dreams. To simply live is to improvise. Everything we do, including planning and preparing, at some point is improvised and spontaneous. So how do we get better? There are loads of tips and exercises, but the bottom line is practice makes progress. You want to be better at singing? Sing more. You want to be better at cooking? Cook more. You want to be better at improvising? Live more. Maybe you set a time to hang out with a friend, but don't make a plan of what to do. Maybe you pick a random road you've never driven and see where it leads. Obviously, don't do anything that puts you or others at risk of serious harm or injury. But live more. If you forget an umbrella, you just get a little wet. If you and your partner break up, you'll move on eventually. If you embrace the lack of control you have over the world, there's nothing to be afraid of. Just keep going, keep improvising, keep laughing, keep smiling, keep living. In life, you should never stop. In music, you should end the solo eventually. Unfortunately, society isn't built to sustain years of soloing at a time. The longest I found was a jam session in Spain lasting 57 hours. So how do you end a solo? That's the easiest part. You simply stop playing.